enlargement to the existing footprint and the placement of the pool.
There are other factors. I didn't want to interrupt your presentation. I want to get clarifications with the board could stand what you're saying in the same way you expect us to understand. So I want to bring out that difference so that we all understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and
Yeah.
Are we all?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'll go. So I was saying, so we're planning to propose a 16 by 36 inch pool, which is also to fit the area of the neighboring homes, which we feel would suits what's in the area to move forward. And then it's a 2-bedroom dwelling that we plan on converting to a 2-bedroom. And what we'll do to the septic system is create leaching mats instead of just regular leaching due to the water table. Yeah, and conclude.
Thank you.
Would you like to say
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you, sorry. I just want to make one more correction. It's currently, it's a 3-bedroom residence with one and a half bathroom.
Okay.
That's the
Did
basis.
you get her name? I didn't get it.
My name is Erin Gottlieb. I'm the attorney for 51 NM.
Okay. Did you sign in, please?
I shall. Thank you. I just wanted to add that the proposed application is in line with what has been approved in the neighborhood for the neighboring properties, and it is what's reasonable to expect for property in the area. A number of the homes on Mill Pond Lane have pools in either the front or the side yard. On this particular stretch of Mill Pond Lane, all of the houses abut wetland and protected town conservation land. We understand and are aware of the inland wetlands in the area. We made sure with the engineer, the design is compliant and has no impact on the wetlands. We're abiding by regulations regarding the septic and IA system that with shallow fields, the pool size is small, the extension is missed, and preserving a wild corridor. The lot purchased knowing about wetlands, the owner respects the wetlands and have designed it in mind. The owner understands the town is busy, the board is busy, but the particular application has been adjourned several times, not at the owner's request. The owner has been extremely patient and would like to proceed with what will be a permanent home. Additionally, I would just like to note that the lot next door that actually contains the wetlands was purchased by the town. The town did not purchase this lot, and so we respectfully request your consideration of this very modest improvement.
Could you clarify how you I believe said you're preserving the wetlands or you're protecting the wetlands?
Yes, because the contemplated design keeps to the existing footprint of the premises that predates the wetlands regulations, adds an additional story, a modest extension to the north side, but not increase any building to the south where the wetlands are, and the only extension to the west where the wetlands, toward where the wetlands are, adjacent lot, is the proposed addition of a modest pool on the location of what is and has currently and always, to our knowledge, been an asphalt driveway. So it's not horticulturally improved. It's not natural wildlife. It's an asphalt driveway, and the homeowner is within their right to keep it an asphalt driveway. We feel that the pool was an outdoor pool, seasonal, would have even less usage and disturbance to the area than the current driveway.
So you're equating an asphalt driveway with a swimming pool, its effect on the wetlands?
Yes, I believe the present intent of the owner is actually to use a technology for the pool called copper ionization, so it wouldn't even affect the saline quality of the surrounding water table.
I want to clarify one point. You mentioned that this has been, this application has been several times at the owner's request. This came before this board one time, adjourned one time, and it was because the applicant, the agent discovered he could not present here by the ethics committee, so that the architect was prepared to go through all the details of it the last times, adjourned it till this.
Okay, to my knowledge, it had been scheduled November, December, and January, and now, which I'm not complaining about. We understand there's been a heavy workload on every, given the pandemic and everything that's going on, but would I get to
No,
proceed?
it was not. It was adjourned, the public hearing was scheduled for January 25th.
Okay, I believe there was thing on the schedule December and also November, but it's really immaterial.
It might have been.
It's immaterial.
Preliminary. Okay.
Perhaps, it's fine. I mean, it's not really a bone of contention, just saying, we're eager for it to proceed.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Our neighbors would also like to speak. I don't know if they'd
Well,
like
the
to hear
state,
after.
They'll come.
presents, staff presents, and we open up to the public.
Good evening, I'm Marty Shea, Chief Environmental Analyst for the town. As we indicated, the lot that's before you is situated within a very environmentally fragile area. The property butts freshwater wetlands that have been preserved by the town and the Southampton trophies. If you were to go into these wetlands, you see that it's an area of extraordinary biodiversity in terms of native flora and fauna. The wetlands also hydrologically connected to Mill Pond. As this board knows, Mill Pond is plagued with water quality impairment issues. So these wetlands also support with rods to cleanse and filtering contaminants from groundwater from groundwaters that enter the pond. There is a preliminary advisory report filed dated November 18, 2022. This, as indicated by the aerial photograph, this is a very constrained lot. It is developed property. It's so it's subject to minimum of wetland construction setbacks of 100 feet and minimum natural buffering setbacks of 75 feet. This is an application where little if no wetland impact mitigation being offered. If you look at the current survey that's for you, as was touched upon, the applicant is seeking to build a pool immediately proximate to the wetlands that will be located only 18.5 feet from the closest wetland boundary. The residence itself, where the northerly addition, the residence itself is located at about 18 feet from the wetlands as well, and the northerly two-story addition is located only 36 feet from wetlands. The plan improvements for this property would result in significant land disturbance, as indicated by the survey. Construction of the pool and installation of the new sanitary system would necessitate import of fill and significant grade modifications. There is little, if any, again, little, if any, wetland impact mitigation that is being offered for this property. In my advisory report, I had provided recommendations to the applicant and also impressed upon the applicant that this application falls shy of the required wetland permit issuing standards as set forth in section 325-9D. In order to make the project plans more compatible with wetlands protection as required by the code, the applicant needs to look at practicable alternatives. Those alternatives can include scaling back kind of construction, maximizing building setbacks, and maximizing naturally shaded buffers. The applicant is offering no buffers at this time. A prior plan has shown a 25 buffer. However, that buffer crossed the planned pool and the residence. So there was no ability to actually correct that naturally vegetated buffering area. In the interest of lessening adverse wetland impacts, I have recommended that the applicant abandon the plans for construction of a pool. I have also asked that they reconsider the proposed northerly two-story addition because of the constraint of this property, and that they look to reverse the sanitary system and the future Beers Drive. The code requires a minimum setback of 150 feet for the sanitary system. As you could see, the sanitary system is considerably closer than that. The sanitary system would be located approximately 75, 80 feet from wetlands. This is this property is marked by an existing ranch with a concrete block foundation. Accordingly, I've asked the applicant to get a structural engineer to look at the existing dwelling, to see whether or not it can support a second story without demolition and reconstruction. In addition to the survey that you have in the file, there are also site plan drawings. And if you look at those drawings that were received on February 8th, you can see that in addition to the site plan, the applicant on the final page has offered a visual rendering of what the home would look like once the planned additions are constructed. If you look in the far right corner of that sheet, above, see the existing one-story ranch, and then below that you see the planned two-story dwelling with northerly addition. The existing attached garage would be converted to living area, and a new garage would be built as part of the northerly extension. Looking at those plans, there is concern that in order to go forward with this project, the applicant would have to essentially demolish and reconstruct virtually the entirety of the existing dwelling. You see, the plan called for a very modern two-story home as compared to the existing ranch. That being said, I indicated to the applicant that particularly if there are some structural issues with the existing home, they may want to entertain demolishing the existing ranch and building a new energy efficient home. In the event that that's done, there would also be an opportunity to better the setbacks, the wetland building setbacks, and buffers for the dwelling, as the applicant could look to reorient the house so that it's in a west-east direction rather than north-south, thereby taking better advantage of the property. The applicant has contended the plans for this project are consistent with project plans for neighboring properties. So in response to those comments, I looked at this board approved on the abutting lot to the east, and I'll hand out copies of those drawings. What you're seeing and looking at the approved survey for neighboring lot, the board did allow for construction of the
Thank you.
and installation of a swimming pool. However, the plans incorporated significant wetland impact mitigation. In fact, the pool that was approved was located between 75 and 80 feet landward of wetland. This compared to the 18.5 feet that is being proposed as a pool setback on this property. You'll also note that a considerable portion of the property was covenanted as a wetland preservation area, and naturally vegetated wetland, undisturbed, non-fertilization. But in fact, the setbacks from the wetlands are significantly greater. So I'd offer that what was approved on the budding lot to the east is radically different than what being proposed on this constrained lot. While we are looking at existing non-conforming residence as offered by the chairman, there is no grandfather under the wetlands law. When an application like this comes in, there's no automatic granting setback relief for a second-story addition or a ground floor addition to that house. The applicant is required to undertake a practicable alternative analysis in the interest of seeing whether or not the project plans can be changed to lessen the potential for adverse well impact. In the event that the applicant seeks to retain the existing home and finds that based upon an analysis by a structural engineer that the second story can be built without demolition and reconstruction of the first floor, I would support the second floor addition. I would support the upgrade of the sanitary system, but I can't support the construction of the pool, nor can I support the building of the northerly addition because there's significantly less wetland building setbacks that are being sought. Even in the event that the board gives consideration to the building of a two-story northerly addition on the south side, I think it's critical that we reverse the proposed pervious drive and the sanitary system. The septic tank for the IA can go under the drive. The position of the new garage would have to be shifted. And then we would need to dedicate the majority of the land around the periphery of the house to establishment of a naturally vegetated buffer, and any permit will also need to be conditioned upon requiring native landscaping for any disturbed ground. Land would have that required covenanted buffering, including land area, including, among others, the land area atop the septic system. So this is an application which needs a lot of additional work in terms of looking at other design options for the property. The applicant needs to integrate a covenanted, naturally vegetated buffer into the development plans, and they need to look to do everything they can to minimize the increase in non-conforming construction at this site. One of the reasons it's taken long for this application to come before the board was because my office thought it as essential that we have a survey showing the proposed improvements. We expressed the need for that survey to the applicant's agent, but we did not receive that necessary survey in terms of today. The applicant should recognize that in order for this board to show wetlands permit, there are certain standards that need to be met that are set forth in section 325-9D. I recommend that the applicant look for adjournment tonight. Take the time to look at those standards. And one of the things the applicant is going to find is that when you have a non-conforming piece of property, you need to do everything possible to minimize any increase in wetland nonconformity. You need to maximize construction setbacks. You need to respect the existing grades as much as possible, and need to maximize the establishment of naturally vegetated buffers. The coverage that is being proposed for this property is excessive. It would result in significant impacts, notwithstanding the applicant's willingness to build a non-chlorinated pool. The construction alone will impact bordering wetlands. With this design plan, no opportunity to provide that natural buffering vegetation is critical as a screen for wildlife. There is concern that future maintenance of the whole may result in inadvertent discharge of contaminated water into the adjacent wetland, which poses a host of issues for native insects, songbirds, native flora, and other wildlife. So, in summation, this project plan does not meet the standards for wetland permit issuance. As Chair would recommend that the hearing be adjourned tonight so that the applicant can take time to look at other design options. Office is always will work with applicants to try and get possible alternatives for the site. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Do, Matt, after Mark, do you have anything to say?
I'll make you comment and then our neighbor wants to speak and then we'll. So first of all, I would like to refer to section 25 for applicability and control of provisions. Chapter shall apply to all regulated lands within the town of Southampton except the following. B, this chapter shall apply to all regulated activities within the town of Southampton except for the following. Where you will find the reference to construction of a second-story addition to an existing residence which was built prior to August 13th, 1983, which this residence was, provided such residence is equipped with a septic system that meets current Suffolk County Department of Health Services standards, which it does, and does not require the demolition and rebuilding of the residence to support a second story. Which it does not. We do have a structural engineer's opinion on that, contrary to what Mr. Shea has said.
Is that part of the record you submitted that already?
I believe the Director of Engineering has ascertained that. Can you confirm that? Yes.
So this is part of, we already have the
Should be.
engineer's report?
Yes, if it's not, please let know and we'll supply it.
I'll have to look through it. But
So.
adding new parts of the project.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we're here. That's part of why we're here today. And I'll, the applicant is completely supportive of discussing, native plantings and such. I find somewhat difficult to believe that adding a second story and the modest extension and the proposed modest pool will be less invasive than entirely knocking down the house, reoriented and building a whole entirely new house. I also, in conclusion, and not to belabor the point, the homeowner is well within their rights just to leave everything as is and to make cosmetic improvements only, which likely would also have construction activity, etc. Leave the existing asphalt driveway. The homeowner has owned premises for 3 years now. This is not a developer looking for a quick flip. This is someone who cares about the property, bought this property because of its location, and is looking to work in cooperation with the town and environmental concerns to do this correctly. That's all. And we have some neighbors who own the premises immediately adjacent the two lots to the east, both of which have pools, one of which Mr. Shea referred to in his presentation.
Just clarification. The second-story addition is specifically referred to in 325. You read that clause. And can build a second-story addition. That and as a right. But the addition of a pool an IA system and other additions for the property and driveway are all outside of those as of right things. And
Understood.
we're required to get alternatives. If we look at, I would just encourage you to look at 325-9D and go through each one of those steps. We are required to look at all these things. So we would ask you to explore alternatives. Marty has suggested a few things, you heard them. Moving the IA system farther away from the wetlands because it should be 150 feet. Cannot meet the recommended setbacks. It doesn't mean you can't do it, although it could, but it does mean we do look and see if it meets the tests for meeting the standard issuance of a permit. The swimming pool is very problematic because it is so close to the wetlands. It's very rare, I can't recall when we issued a permit for pool 18 feet from the wetlands.
The wetlands buffer,
To the wetland,
Wetland line.
the wet line.
to the wetland itself or to the wetland buffer? I heard Mr.
There's no
Shea say
buffer.
buffer.
But you haven't provided any buffer, you haven't proposed any buffer. You've cleared it right up to wetlands line.
So it's proposed 18 feet, according to what is written in here, proposed 18 and a half feet. There are impacts, and in order for you to meet the standards, there needs to be mitigation. And that mitigation almost always, perhaps always does, but certainly always, involves providing a covenant buffer, non-disturbance non-proliferation zone. And there is none offered here. So I would suggest we should look at closely. I don't see how you can meet the standards without offering a buffer. There may be other things as we move on. As we switch things around, it may create other situations. But the standard is 100, which the standard to strive for is 100% setback structures and 150 feet for the septic system.
See, the backbone of the 325 lies almost completely on the distance from wetlands, the setbacks from wetlands. So you said about demolishing the house and building it in a different configuration,
That's-
being, why could that be less invasive than what, in the house where it is? As a temporary disturbance, it may be greater than leaving the house where it is. But the end result of being greater wetlands from some sacks is what main goals of chapter 325. The way it's designed is far from wetlands better. So the larger, the farther the wetland setback, the better the project is perceived to be at its phase, all of the things being considered. But that's why we would offer, considering a building that's farther away, even if it means demolishing the house that's there, because farther from wetlands is better than closer to the wetland. So that's just the basis of chapter 325 and the way that's designed. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Maurice, Chief Environmental Analyst, for town. Just to provide some clarity of the record. In August last year, we did receive a letter indicating that the existing one-story dwelling can support the addition of a second story. And that the necessary reinforcement required to the foundation will not involve a complete demolition of construction. However, the letter was from the architect, Mark Gifford. It was not from a structural engineer. Our policy is to ask for a letter that attests to the structural engineering integrity from engineer. One of the reasons I raise this question again is if you look at visual rendering in the site plan, it looked to me that the applicant is envisioning building a very modern style home, and just looking at rendering, it would appear that it could very well necessitate demolishing the majority of the existing ranch. one of the ways to flesh out the details and to ensure that demolition and reconstruction is necessary is for the applicant come forward with floor plans showing us which exterior walls will be retained, which exterior walls need to be amended. The plan would also show how the second floor is supported. And then we have an actual plan that shows us what's involved in putting a second story on this home. While the applicant, of course, is not required to come forward with a plan for demolition and reconstruction, again, one of the reasons that I suggested that the applicant might want to look at that option is it would appear, looking at the lot, looking at the adjacent lot, that if the applicant built a new home, that was better aligned with the recently built home on the lot to the east. They not only would significantly increase the wetland setbacks and would likely be able to make the case that they're maximizing setbacks, but there would appear to be opportunity to build a deck or patio, maybe a hot tub, maybe even a small pool at the east end of the lot. So I understand the applicant is not required to build a home, but I offered that because my goal is not only to find a way to provide efficient protection for the on-site wetlands, but to try and be creative in meeting the goals of the applicant in terms of the living area that we're looking at, seeing if there's a way to get accessory amenities such as a deck, a patio, a hot tub, a small pool, and the current plan, while it proposes those things, it just doesn't meet the standards of wetland permit issuance. So at the very least, if the applicant wants to stick with that current footprint, the plan for the pool needed to be abandoned. Need to look at shifting that IAOWTS to the northeast corner of the property. See if we can reverse the driveway that would likely require some scaling back of that north wing. Another thing that can be helpful to us, and I'm not sure that they can provide it, is to provide a floor plan for the both the existing one-story house, the proposed second floor, and the planned addition. So we can look at whether or not there's any opportunity to scale back, extend construction, or reconfigure the home in a way that it yet largely achieves the goals and desires of the applicant. And without having that information, there's little to work with in terms of looking at other design options. So again, I would recommend that the applicant revisit the plan in the interest of trying to come forward with a plan that maximizes construction setbacks and allows for establishment of maximized covenant naturally vegetated buffers that likely calls for native landscaping of the remaining disturbed ground on the property, and then at least we have something to work with as on the installation of the new sanitary system. There's little for us to work with in terms of wetland and impact mitigation and to support the issuance of a wetlands permit. That's Tom. Thank you.
Do you want to say, that you're the architect, right? I gotta tell you, did you draw those cars? They're good. I don't know how you do that. Obviously, I'm not an artist. They're good. Anything more to present?
Well, we have to be in front of the mic and speak, okay? So just state your name again before you start, if you don't mind.
Gabriel Gombana. The only comment I did make was regards to the addition. It is slab on grade, so there'll be minimal digging. And then I believe to the addition, it's only a few feet from what's existing. And that's the one I did want to make.
Is there a basement on the existing house?
No, it's a crawl space.
Okay, is it,
It's the existing.
what's the depth of groundwater? It's usually here somewhere. Here we
Oh, it
go.
was on the survey.
4.5 feet or so.
So it's two, oh, is it,
Test hole. One test hole, the pool is
4.77 feet to water,
around 5.4.
5.4, okay, so.
That's where the pool
Yeah,
is.
forget about us. Doesn't work. You don't need, do you have first elevation required here for FEMA?
No, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Is there a FEMA requirement for a first floor elevation in this area?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Okay, if you have nothing more to add, then I'm gonna open up to the public. In one moment.
Mortgage chief and mental analyst for the town. Actually, the flood zones are shown on the property. The southeast corner of the existing house does lie within FEMA flood zone on AE elevation 10, which would mean that if the planned additions are deemed substantial improvements, which equate to essentially 50 greater than 50% of the value of the existing home, the finished first floor would have to be at a minimum of elevation 12, which would the architect, it looks like they have a finished first floor elevation of 12.26, so they right now plan would be compliant.
Thank you. Is there someone in the public who wants to speak on this application? Yes, sir.
Excuse me, I just want to.
You can't speak until you're on the, you
Yeah,
can't.
I'm the neighbor, 41 Mill Pond, and I just want to say they're a late couple. I hope you can work this out. I know nothing about what you're talking about, but I think they're an addition to the neighborhood, and it would be an improvement if you can get the details. It's lovely. It was very gracious when the eagle beat the giants.
Could you just your name and also sign in, please? Everyone has
yeah,
to
okay.
state their name and sign.
Okay. I need a pen.
Unfortunately, in chapter 225, there's nothing about how nice the people are.
I know. I just want to let you know.
And I'm sorry, what was your name again, sir?
Jim, W-A-D, next door in 41
Okay.
Mill Pond, and they're just a nice addition to the neighborhood, whatever that's worth.
Would someone else like to speak on this application? And Kevin, is there anyone on the video that would like to speak? We'll need to adjourn this to a later date. You have a sentence that needs to be done, right? Like alternatives, I would I highly recommend you look chapter 325-90 and just kind of memorize that whole section. Because that's what we go by. If we don't identify by verse, that's what we're thinking about as we're going through the process. So that will get you in line with how we think about the application and what we have to do to meet the conditions for issuance of a permit.
The amount of work that needs to be done would be considering different locations for other structures, staff recommendation to eliminate or reduce some of the structures, proposing a buffer around the structures so that, so there's going to be no activity closer from the wetlands that currently exists. Some guidelines to give you for homework. Looks like the next available date is April 26th. We've got a full agenda between then.
Yes, we would like adjourn for the next meeting that's available.
April 2026.
Yep.
Make yourself available to staff to go over what your thoughts and their thoughts might jive before everybody's doing their own thing and if like this don't
Mm.
you know, agree.
What we need to see and be able to understand is all the changes that you desire to make on property and their setback from the flagged wetlands. At the last meeting, you said you'd have a survey for this meeting. We don't have that. We do have
On
a,
February 8th, that was this.
oh, okay.
That was all.
That's the, okay,
Yes,
good.
on February 8th.
Came today, this afternoon.
Okay. So we do need those measurements for the setback because that's what the law references all over the town.
Got it. And that was from, you said 325.9D.
Yes.
Yeah.
An IA system is obviously required, county requires that, project of size. And I don't know if there's any other system that takes up less space. There's a problem with the groundwater, so you just need to have shallow like that and spread over a lot of space. Just trying to think of ways to maximize or be accomplished as much as you want to on this property that's highly constrained. We see a lot of these highly constrained properties, and sometimes it takes some creativity to make everything work.
Okay. Got it.
Sometimes putting a pool on a roof. I'm not joking.
Is there a
This
motion?
back, Marty? This back.
Is there a motion to adjourn to
A 26th
April.
motion.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
And pick that.
He does that.
No, look at now.
Is there a motion to accept minutes of January 25th, 2023?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Advisory report for the ZBA Sarah Birmingham.
Marty Shea, Chief Environmental Officer of the town. This variance application relates to an existing essentially developed property at Inlet Northwest and Hamlet Shinnecock Hills. There are several brief comments which were offered. The first indicates that the property is within the jurisdiction of the town in state regulatory wetlands. The second provides some quick history indicating that the land is ready to receive the requisite permit to build the proposed garage for which variance is being sought. Third comment is that the survey that is in filed with ZBA was approved pursuant to the administrative wetland permit. And as is customary, the last comment indicates that we have not separately looked at the building and zoning variance criteria.
Motion to send these comments to the ZBA.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Matthew Roden and Jessica Vieira.
This is a property on Tuck Lane in Hamilton, Speeding that has some history before the board. The property fronts on Merchants Bay. It is within the jurisdiction of town regulated wetlands. Second comment indicates that this board had granted conditional approval on May 25, 2022 to allow for demolition and reconstruction of the pool, as well as to build various residential additions and pool deck. Third comment indicates that the survey that has been sent to the zoning board has been conditionally approved by this board. And the last comment indicates that we have not looked at the separate building and zone variance criteria.
Move to send these comments to the ZBA.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The administrative wetland permits are in your packets. It's resolution to reschedule hearing. This one that we not opened earlier. 022093, and also, and Mary Stoyanova. Is there a motion to schedule this, reschedule to April 26th?
So moved.
Second?
Resolved that the Town Conservation Board hereby reschedules the public hearing to April 26, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution approval, A 022028, Denise Sokolich. And this is being postponed February 22nd. Is there a motion?
Motion to postpone February 2022nd?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A 0222-057, Steve Lesser and Melissa Lesser. Any discussion?
Move to issue?
Second?
Resolved that a conditional approval be granted to Steve Lesser and Melissa Lesser plus project objective terms and conditions for three. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A 022200, Ricky Golden, Gretchen Monahan, and Stephen Robinson.
Yes, and
Any discussion?
Gretchen.
Move to issue.
Second?
Resolved that a wetland permit be granted to Ricky Golden, Gretchen Monahan, and Stephen Robinson for the project on the term and conditions for three. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A 022062, Vincent Toomey and Joanna Hawkins. Any discussion?
Move to issue?
Second.
Resolved that a conditional wetland approval be granted to Vincent Toomey and Joanna Hawkins for the proposed project on the terms and conditions for theory. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mary Lee, A 22088, Mary Lee Kretschy.
Move to issue?
Second?
Resolved that a conditional wetland approval be granted to Mary Lee Kretschy for the proposed project on the term and conditions for theory. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A 022099, Garrett Torresian and Carol Torresian. Any discussion?
Move to issue?
Second?
Resolved that a conditional wetland approval be granted to Gilbert Torresian and Carol Torresian for the project on the term and conditions set forth therein. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A 02102, Irene Vagianos and Martin Willen. Any discussion?
Move to issue.
Second?
Resolved that a conditional wetland permit approval granted to Irene Vagianos, Martin Whalen, and for the proposed project to the terms and conditions set forth therein. All in favor? Opposed? Preliminary review signature determination, A 0207, Nicholas Christopher and Penelope Christopher. This is being postponed to February 22nd.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A 022012, Dreddy Fupa. This is also being postponed to February 22nd.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Opposed, 02203 Cold Spring Point 2 LLC.
Order you Chief Environmental Analyst for the town. This application relates to an existing residential property in Clifton Point in the hamlet of there is the preliminary advisory report on file dated February 7, 2023. The application has been made in order in this board's approval to undertake modest improvements and additions to existing residents. The applicant has come forward with a plan to upgrade the sanitary system. However, due to the constraints of the property, a significant portion of that system would need to be constructed within an existing covenanted naturally vegetated wetland, non-disturbance, non-fertilization buffer. As a consequence, due to my interest in getting upgraded sanitary system on this property, I toured the property and develop a creative plan for reconfiguring and expanding an existing buffer that works well with the site. I've also asked that the area where the IA would be installed, that the land up that IA be landscaped with new vegetation. The applicant has indicated that they're amenable to working with us to file the necessary amended covenants and to work out the details in terms of the native landscape concept. This is an application for which we have sufficient information to make a determination. As such, I'm recommending that the public hearing requirement be waived.
Motion to waive the public hearing?
Second.
Resolved that the Conservation Board hereby waives the public hearing required pursuant to Chapter 325, Section 325-80 of the Town Code. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A 022096 Sherry Meyerson and Mitchell Meyerson.
This application relates to property at Lots Road in the hamlet of East Frog. The lot contains very extensive freshwater tidal wetlands, which tie in with the wetlands and preserve lands at the Pine Neck Preserve. The application has been made in order to replace the existing pool and brick patio area with a new pool, elevated terrace area, various other amenities such as outdoor kitchens and sinks. There is an existing covenanted buffer on this property extending 50 feet landward of the wetland boundary. However, as a considerable portion of that buffer is being maintained as a lawn, the applicant needs to go forward with a reclamation and native revegetation plan for that area. There are also existing fence lines that need to be relocated further landward. Majority of this of the accessory implements that the applicant has in mind would occur within existing structural footprints at fairly good setbacks. So long as the existing covenant buffer is restored, that would also sufficient mitigation to offset the effects of this project. They have a at-grade wood walk that runs for a considerable distance in order to access the dock. Well, that walk runs through wetlands. The area is flooded a lot. Last time I stopped at the property, that area was virtually entirely water. So I've asked that the applicant take up that slide walk and construct a light penetrable decked catwalk, which the applicant has agreed to do. That will allow for a better preservation of the existing wetland, and also afford them safe and dry access to that dock. So the wetlands have changed somewhat over time. Their coverage is greater than they were in years past, but it doesn't affect the need buffer on this property, but they will have to. The amended covenant will change the description of the wetland preservation area and naturally vegetated buffer as well. So the applicant has agreed to all the recommendations in terms of mitigation for this property. We do have sufficient information to make a determination. As such, recommending that the public hearing be waived.
Motion to waive the public hearing.
Second.
Resolved that the Conservation Board hereby waives the public hearing requirement pursuant to 325 to 325, the 80 of the town code. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Covenant interpretation amendment, A 022095911 file LLC is postponed to February 2nd, 2023.
Motion to postpone on to February 22nd.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next meeting is 2 weeks, February 22nd.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That was the right one.